Every single day since the dawn of man, we have got our information, our news, our opinions from somewhere. Whether it be the campfire or the letter that took 6 months to get across the ocean, or then the radio broadcast on a Saturday night, to the internet, the TV and the radio and the newspaper that we rely upon today. Right now, 24/7, 365, we have opinions, ideas and news shoved down our throats, whether we like it or not. Now, not all are negative or incorrect. There's always some positive ones, like an old Labrador that saved an old lady from a burning building, or that squirrel who used to ski across water. But the majority, the vast majority of news is not good news. In fact, it's designed that way. Scary news, horrifying news, made in an effort to elicit a response, a fear response. If it bleeds, it leads. And now in today's society, if it's a negative story, people will click on it, and that click leads to ad revenue for news sites. In days gone by, journalism was a revered profession, filled with people looking and trying and working as hard as they can to provide the news without bias in an effort to ethically provide answers to people and provide them with knowledge that can affect their day-to-day life. Now, however, it's about headlines, clickbait, stirring the pot, alliances and sensationalism. That's what journalism and the media has come to. And you've probably heard the old saying before, never believe what you read or hear on TV. But now, more than ever, that is so important. You must understand that everything that you hear, that you see, that you read is controlled by a corporation with a bias, with a political leaning, with something working in the background trying to make you do something. And sure, you may think that's bullshit. You may think that's a conspiracy, but honestly, you need to look at the bigger picture here. The media is not there to help you. The media is not there to make you feel good. And the media is not there to just mollycoddle you in a way that you're going to wake up every morning and go, oh, what a beautiful day it is. No, the media is there to make money. They are businesses. And without scary, shitty, freaky fucking things going on, they don't make money. It is a version of the military-industrial complex. Sure, you may be sitting there thinking, oh, that's just a conspiracy. Oh, the corporations. Oh, fuck off, Isaac. No. How can you logically think within your own mind that this is not true? For example, the Sinclair Group, a large media organisation on the conservative side of politics in America. They orchestrated not a negative attack, but an attack on fake news that was put out across their media channels. Hundreds of media channels, and they all said exactly the same fucking thing.
The Sinclair Group, which is known for its conservative stance, owns almost 200 stations across America. It sent out a memo telling anchors to read out a statement during their news program.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control it. Exactly.
And the same goes for the left side of politics too. They don't get away with it. This wasn't a negative thing. This was a thing to do with Christmas. But it just goes to show to you, right now sitting at home, how scripted the media is. You are not being looked after as an individual. You are a very small, minute, tiny little speck on the large spectrum that is the population of Australia or America or wherever you happen to live. And the media don't give a fuck about you.
Who are you really shopping for this holiday season? It's okay, you can admit it, if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Well, it's okay, you can admit it if you have bought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. You've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
But maybe I'm not the best person to explain this to the wider public. I'm sure we all know some of these things, but in detail, maybe we're not across it. So here's Friendly Geordies going into detail about media bias.
G'day, you good motherfuckers. It's actually Jordan Shanks here. Ooh, pranked. Master of disguise. Thanks, Isaac, for letting me on your channel. Anyway, media bias. Now that introductions are over. The best way to think about media bias is to not even think of it as media. It is pure propaganda that is set up by the elite classes of society. It always has been, all throughout history, in every society. So if you go to North Korea, all the news there is, this just in, that Kim Jong-un became the first man on the moon and didn't even need some pussy space shuttle to get there. He just flew. While in Australia, the most powerful institutions are the mining industry, banking, and investment firms, and they basically use the same blueprint as third world dictatorships. It's just they are much more effective and much more sophisticated, as their imprint on the news is far less noticeable. They create different news outlets that are aimed at different demographics. Most of the time they're owned by the same person, and they're allowed to have differing opinions on really superficial social issues that don't actually change the direction of society. But as soon as we're talking about a subject that is important, i.e. would change the direction of society, they have the same uniform opinion, which is the opinion that the banking industry, the mining industry, and investment firms want them to have. And the scariest part of all of this is that we are so heavily indoctrinated as a society by this way of thinking that it has become a self-feeding machine. The indoctrination is so omnipotent and starts at such a young age that we are all self-censoring ourselves all the time to think exactly how this machine wants us to think, and no one is exempt from it. Not me, not you, not Isaac, certainly not the people who work for these media outlets, as they wouldn't have gotten the job in the first place if they didn't think exactly how this media machine wants them to think. So in short, we're all extremely brainwashed, and there's no way out. Anyway, subscribe to my channel if you want to know more, because as you can plainly tell, it's nothing but a barrel of laughs, and no one on earth hates me. Back to you, Isaac. Cheers.
Thanks, Jordan, and make sure you check out his channel. It'll be in the link below. Now, I guess if you didn't understand what Jordan was saying, maybe you're a bit of a bogan like me. He's saying we're super fucked. That's what he's saying. Because these cocksuckers who give us the news are only employed because of their political prejudices or their personal beliefs. They're not employed because they're good journalists. Look at some of the people that provide news in Australia. Triple J, Junkie, the ABC. Are they there because they're the best in their field? No fucking way. They are there only because they fit a certain niche and they are marketable to the people that consume the product that each one of those channels is producing. Here's the scary thing. One story can have two different angles based on what channel you watch, what newspaper you read. Take, for example, the Red Pill documentary. It's a documentary about men's rights. Now, this is not a video about men's rights. I'm not a men's rights activist. This is an example. This film was banned in a lot of places because of the way the media reported on it. Now, let's first have a look at a good example of some journalism. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but Studio 10 fucking nailed it.
Okay, let's move on. And is this a setback for free speech? A controversial documentary on the men's rights movement has had screenings in Melbourne cancelled after a petition claimed the film was misogynistic propaganda. I'm going to throw this one to you, Denise. Do you think that this should be banned?
No, I do not.
Well, the great irony with this film, I mean, talk about an own goal. Like, not only is it chilling that someone could actually think in their head that in a democracy something should be banned just because they disagree with it. Like, they say, oh, it's misogynistic propaganda. Well, so what?
I just think it's really scary when we start banning things because we don't like the content.
It's really, really scary.
Fair, balanced, supporting free speech, acknowledging the need for debate. Okay, I'll cop that. But then, Channel 7, Weekend Sunrise, Andrew O'Keefe and some other lady, they carried on like fucking pork chops. And these are people who influence thousands of Australians, if not tens of thousands. This is their take.
Mel, the director of controversial documentary The Red Pill, is in Australia to promote her film, which has sparked protests and been banned by Australian cinemas for being anti-women.
From the jump, right there, they're already extremely biased against the film. You can tell, just looking back on this, that they had no intention of looking at this from a fair angle. They had no intention of debate, none. They are looking at this, trying to dismiss it, get it done within 7 minutes and go to an ad break. That's fucking bullshit.
Are you dismayed that some people won't be able to see the film and make up their own minds because of the protests, specifically here in Australia?
Absolutely. I think people need to see the film in order to have an opinion about the film. And unfortunately in Australia, we've had so many screenings pulled from theatres that it's preventing Australians from being able to see the film for themselves.
Yeah, which, you know, as you say, sort of restricts the conversation that we're able to have around this.
Notice right here, Andrew O'Keefe says, if you're not seeing the film, if you're not watching the film, then how can you comment on the film? Now, just remember that, okay? Just remember that.
It just seems to me that you don't really question their views in the film.
Did you see the film?
Well, we saw as much as we could because your publicist wouldn't send us the full thing.
I sent you the screener link actually to the full film.
But so we watched as much as we could, yeah. But
you could also buy the film on Google Play, Vimeo, and
we
Amazon
tried to do that and we couldn't.
Be that as it may.
So Andrew O'Keefe, the man hosting this show, the man leading this conversation, the man who is poo-pooing the film, for lack of a better term, hasn't even seen it. You just said, Andrew, that if you haven't seen the film, how can you comment on it? You've seen the trailer, you dopey fuck. How can you comment on something that you haven't seen? Now, you may just think that I'm just having a go at Andrew O'Keefe or Sunrise here. No, these people are influencing people. This is a small example of what happens when someone makes a documentary or anything or says anything that goes against the mainstream ideas. The media pushes it down and once again poo-poos it. Journalists now include their opinions as fact. And that is dangerous because they have a giant influence. I always try and make sure that my videos that I make are balanced. I like to look at both ideas, and that's what we all should do. We have an enormous resource that is the internet where we can look up and find absolutely anything out and come to terms with it in our own way. And that's what we should do with anything, including the news that we read. Because we now only look at headlines. And those headlines are designed in a way so we will only look at them and they will tell the entire story, and that's how you will get your opinion about a certain subject. Look at the newsreader in your town. The dude sitting there in a suit uncomfortably who is talking in a very special voice and coming up after 6 will tell you why you're all fucked. No one talks like that. What a sick world that we live in, where I am more trustworthy. People from the new media, YouTube, podcasts are more trustworthy than someone who goes to uni for 4 years, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on degrees and all that shit, gets employed by some giant business. What a strange world where some dude or anyone from their bedroom that can research something is more trustworthy. So I wonder where this will go with the media, because eventually people are going to stop caring. People are going to stop believing. People are going to stop buying. It's like when you see these journalist sites, these newspapers who put paywalls up. That's why people only read headlines, because you're putting a paywall up, stopping people from reading the entire article and finding out about it. You're stopping people from learning. You are stopping people from finding out the truth, and you are the root cause in your own failure as a business. And if you still don't believe all that, I've witnessed it firsthand. When my article came out about me being a hater of the Jewish people, when they said in the article that came out in the Herald Sun and then across the entire world, including the Israel Times, all right, this was translated into different languages. And they said, and I quote, that I said on stage, imagine the laughter, imagine how funny it would be to see the Jews walking to the gas chambers. That's what riled people up across the globe, and rightfully so. That's an asshole thing to say. But, number one, it was pertaining to a joke, okay. We can get past that. But number two, I didn't even say it. That was a lie. Printed. Designed to ruin me. So if that's just me, one single person, imagine what other lies happen every single day. On the telly, in the paper, and the shit we read online. Do your own research and realise that you need to question absolutely everything. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. And I'll see you all next week. Make sure you subscribe because this channel's going to get 1 million by the 14th of July, which is my birthday. Toodaloo, bye.